Hello everyone, welcome back to the Flying Sandal channel. Today I have something different for you. I'm going to take a break from building the Anaconda only because, this space behind me is really my wife's area where she works. And turns out that I need to be back in the room where I have all my hobby stuff. And so I'm organizing it a little bit. What we're going to do today is we're going to find a way to manage these guys. So these are my drones. I have some racing drones I fly with my friends, mostly for fun because I'm not very competitive, but these are getting a little bit rowdy. They're all over the place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hang these on the wall, and that's what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to show you how to make these guys, which are going to be a little bracket to hang them off the wall like so. And so that's how they're going to be mounted on the wall. So stick around. I'm going to show you how we make these guys. Okay. All right, thank you for sticking around. And so what I'm going to show you is how I'm making these little brackets. These are just made from dry cleaning coat hangers, which is a cheap and fun way to make them. I'm just using these coat hangers from the dry cleaners. And so what I did is I obviously cut it. I just used some cutting pliers. I'm also going to be using a set of mechanics pliers because they give me more leverage, and I'm going to be using these needle tip pliers to make them. So the way that they're going to hang is like this, and the trick is just to bend them so that you have this little shape, this little kind of U shape, and also that they go into the wall. Now I happen to have this awl, which is a pretty sturdy way of forming the wire. So you're gonna need to find something, maybe a vise could help you, or maybe a big, like a number 10 nail, something that you can use to form the wire around. And I'm just using them to do this. So let's go ahead and make one of them, okay? I'll show you how I'm doing it. Okay, so like I just mentioned, I'm using these cut-off hangers. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to use the bend of the wire just to my advantage. So this side already has a nice bend. This side is not such a good 90 degrees. So I'm just straightening the wire and then I make a new bend. And I'm using the mechanics pliers for this because they give me good leverage. And that way I just make kind of like a 290-degree bends here. Now, the next thing is I just kind of eyeball double the width of the pliers and make another 90-degree bend here, another 90-degree bend right here. Now I'm switching to my needle nose because I want this bend to be smaller. This one doesn't need to be as big. So I just go ahead and use my thumb. It takes a little bit of force, but not too much. And the paint does tend to chip away a little bit. So they're not going to be perfect, but you can barely see them once they're mounted on the wall. So now I have this little triangle shape. And the next thing I'm doing is I'm going to bend them so that I get this bend right here. And what I do is I just, maybe give it like 1.5 to 1.75 inches over on this side and bend it down on both sides. So let's do the other one. So they're about the same. There we go. And I end up with this. Now, here's the trickier part. And tricky only because now I need to wrap kind of like this tight set of wires here. So what I've been doing is just getting a good hold with the needle nose and with my fingers. And because these are longer than they really need to be, I like it because that gives me a little bit of leverage. And I'm just going to bend the first one. So let's see. Just get a good grip on it and come back around and bend it. So definitely not the easiest method. There may be an easier way to bend these, and if you know of a better way, do let me know in the comments. Let's see. So, and I'm just bending them actually to the same side. I was trying to bend them crossed, one to the left, one to the right, but that actually wasn't as easy. So now that I kind of got it started, and it's not the best or the cleanest, but now I take my awl and just kind of bend it tight, as tightly as I can around it. There's one, and here's the other. So this is the part that's going to give me, and it's starting to form that way. Okay, so now I go again, the back wire first, make it as tight as I can, and then do the other one. Now when you're cutting the wire, you definitely want to be wearing some kind of eye protection. So I'm just going to put this on. Now they're not as tight, and so what I've been doing is I've just been grabbing my mechanics pliers and actually just kind of making the wires a little tighter. And so that's what I've got. And I think that's probably going to do the trick. So now I'm just going to go ahead and clip these. Sometimes easier said than done. So I'm going to cut one there, and then the other one is easier to cut once you're not cutting two of them at the same time. And now I just kind of finish shaping it a little bit. So grab my mechanics pliers, again the ones that give me the best leverage, and just make it as tight as I can and move it up the awl to a little bit smaller diameter and do it again. And there we go, that's pretty much the way it's going to be. So this will just hold it drone and it'll be against the wall. Okay, so I'm going to make a couple more. So one more the same way. Just grab it, straighten one end, fold it back, and kind of eyeball where I want it. Again, almost like 2 weights of the pliers seem to be about right. Refine my bends as I go along. If I need to adjust the bend, I can do it. You know, before you move on to the next bend, because that's when it's easier to manipulate the wire. You got the leverage of the longer wire, and it just kind of helps you bend them into shape. So they're not perfect. This one is smaller than that one, but it'll still work just fine. The 90-degree bend here, and I'm bending not straight that way, but a little bit towards the inside so that they come and cross down here. And again, just go back into my wrapping the wire around this way. That's one, and that's two. So now move from here to the awl and use my mechanics pliers to give it a little bit of a tighter bend to the wire. Let's see. So it's not the easiest method, but I mean, I went through like 4 or 5 before I started getting the hang of it. And there it goes. A couple more turns. And bend one tight, bend the other tight. And now this one came out a little crooked, but if I just put it back in the awl and use my mechanics pliers again to kind of tighten all these coils together. You gotta be careful not to pinch yourself. And then I'm just going to kind of shape this one a little bit. This one I had a little bit more trouble with. Always whenever I'm doing things in the camera, it's a little bit harder than when I'm just doing them for myself. There we go. So this one is not the prettiest thing, but I think it's going to work. I'm going to tighten this a little more with the pliers. Just come back and tighten things. And there we go. Okay, now I cut these. There's one. And there's the other. Eyeball for shape. And I can always use the mechanics pliers to shape them a little bit. There we go. I think that's gonna work. Okay, so I'm gonna make a few more, and then we're going to go and hang them on the wall. Okay, so here we are. I started testing them out, and I think they're working just fine. So again, here's a little hook, and it's gonna go and hold the motor from behind like that. So once it's on the wall, they're holding just fine. So let me go ahead and get one there. So pardon my back as I go and get one of these. I'm just using a small hammer that I have. And I made a little mark to remind me where it goes. So let's see. So by the way I'm doing this is I'm just bringing the drone and figuring out more or less where I want it. Just putting a little mark. And then, I mean, I am hammering this into the wall because I want a little bit more permanent solution here. But you can always, instead of hammering them, you could use some of those sticky things and just find a way to secure them there. So you could do that. But I'm okay with just like a finish nail into the wall. These are tiny and they do make little holes. So there's a hole there and a hole there from, I had a picture frame hanging here before, but I'm okay with that. So, all right, let me get the rest. So there we go. That's my new drone wall. I kind of like it. I didn't have a drone wall before. They were all stuffed into this one cabinet on top of each other. So now I can see them. The other things that my wife's gonna see them. So I don't think she knows how many I've got. Oh well, I hope she likes them. Thank you very much for watching the video. Please give me a like, subscribe, and a thumbs up if you don't mind. As I said, I'm trying to grow my channel, so hopefully you like things like this that I'm just going to keep doing videos, you know. I've been doing things all the time and I didn't have videos before, so give me a thumbs up, a subscribe, and don't forget to keep them up in the air. Alright.